Week 6 of NECC Rainbow Six is here, and we have an amazing match coming up for you. That is no hyperbole. I am Light Rose, and joining me is Treasure, and Ohio State Esports versus Fisher Esports is the game that waits around the corner. And I honestly, this is kind of a game I've been looking forward to all season.
Yeah, I know you've been mentioning these teams in our calls. I've been leading up to so many of these matches. I know you've really been looking forward to this, and there's a reason for that too. Between these two teams, we're in week 6 now, and they share a total of 1 match loss right now. So looking really, really good, especially Ohio State University, who are currently sitting with 5 victories in a row, no defeats. So they're looking to keep that streak going and just cement themselves as the juggernauts of Legends Division. Fisher College, on the other hand, has fewer matches played out right now as we're waiting for some reschedules, but 2-1 right now and already some pretty convincing wins on the board for them.
Yeah, actually, looking at the past, if you look at the CR6 Columbus land, Ohio State took first, and Fisher, I believe, got 3rd or 4th. So these are two very good collegiate Rainbow Six teams, and well, we could talk about who's on them. Ohio State, there are some big names: Arno, Reddick, Mustard, Deson. No, Texu, Arno, Mustard, and Deson were on the SES team, Collegiate Connoisseurs, with Wacko, who is not here today, but already those 3 players, they can pack a punch.
Yeah, definitely a lot of heavy hitters. And between both these teams, we have quite a few players. I don't think any seniors to divide between them, as we'll see as we look over at Fisher College's lineup in addition. Yeah, we've got Beezer, Capybara, Maple, Bathrobe, and Gohan over here. And again, these are some players that we're quite familiar with from other competitions in addition to Collegiate, right, Light Rose?
Oh yeah, and I'm mad Gohan is subbing in for Yali at the last moment, and I would have loved just to bully Yali this entire broadcast. But she is the coach, she's not playing. It would have been funny to make fun of her while she's playing. But going on to those maps, talk about where we are headed. It's going to be pretty important because these teams, how their play styles can indicate how this entire thing is going to go. It's going to be Chalet, Oregon, and Bank. Treasure.
Yeah, I like this. These are maps that have been quite popular, especially recently, across basically all levels of play, especially Chalet, which has ended up being one of the most played maps, especially at this level of competition. Yeah, that one's always a delight to see. I'm a huge Chalet fan. Oregon, our bread and butter. A lot of the same kind of cadence to those rounds, but it's always a check to make sure that both teams can do their due diligence and play textbook Siege. Bank, I think, is the one kind of outstanding map that we allowed to let through our ban phase tonight.
I honestly, from my experience, I think OSU has the edge on Bank. I haven't seen Fisher go there, but in SCS, I talked about how there were players on the Collegiate Connoisseurs. They hung a little bit with Oxygen on Bank, the old Oxygen roster before all the moves this year. There was a little bit of hope there in that game with those players. So we're going to have to see what happens if we get to that 3rd map. I would hope we get to that 3rd map with how good both of these teams are. But first, it's Chalet. It's OSU's pick. And honestly, I just want to jump right into it at this point.
Yeah, and interestingly of note, Ohio State University, while serving up 5 victories back-to-back, they have had a lot of matches going so far to that 3rd map. I think 3 out of their 5 so far have. So the odds actually really indicate that we could get to see this one to its full length and get to see just what Ohio State and Fisher College have in store for us.
I think that could be a part of the thing that we are in the highest. We are in the best Rainbow Six teams in the entirety of potentially Collegiate Siege. So to have all these games go to map 3, it does make sense because somebody's got to win at the end, and with all teams just so good at the end of the day. Will we go to a map 3? Will we be decided with a quick 2-0? We're going to start it out on Chalet. Fisher on the defense. Ohio State on that attack and just zipping through these attacks.
Yeah, these are going to be pretty reasonable over here on Chalet. Flores, as always, excels at removing deployable shields, which are quite strong, especially across the 2nd floor objectives here. And not to mention basement, where especially Blue corridor and wine cellar, make those really valuable. Solus, a really high value character, our second newest operator on the lineup, adds a lot to the defense, getting intel on attackers from even outside the building, which is pretty impactful on this map. So I think that makes a lot of sense as well.
Interesting enough about Chalet, it feels like that's one of the maps where Solus actually might make it through. Where we get some play with Solus, she's able to go down to the basement, look up, see where these attackers are coming from, and sometimes get a lot of 1vx's simply by shutting down the diffuser with that Specchio scanner, but she's not here. You know who is here? Kaid, Mira, and Valkyrie. Will they get any play? Not in this first round. Fisher just does not want to budge from that tried and true strategy that they have, and I think that is for good reason. You don't really want to throw in a wrench when you have a solid plan.
They're absolutely looking to just gum up the attack. Look at this. Legion, Malusi, and Goyo with his canisters. These are all operators that are looking to just harry the attack at every step of this process. So the answer from Ohio State University right now, they're going to be seeing this basement push pretty quickly. And right now what we're seeing is a ton of explosives. So now, Kaid being something on the board here is not going to be as valuable to have that Thatcher. That's why we're seeing the swap over to Thatcher, guaranteed hard breach for garage door, and lots of explosives. These are going to be focused up here where we're looking in the lobby room over here where Maple is currently. They're going to need to play a lot of reconnaissance up there to get there before Desan. He's going to be a high value operator for Ohio State.
And off with Happy going up to that Solarium stairs. She can be a gunner in the right hands if Ohio State does not hunt her down, but they're heading to that second floor. They do intend to go from top down, and considering where Fisher are, it's a good plan from the beginning, but if they're not careful, they could potentially get pinched. With the drones, with the frags, and potentially some players coming from that outside, Ohio State does have a plan. It's just a question of how long is it going to take for them to enact.
It looks like right off the bat, ooh, they are crunching in on the mezzanine, but Gohan is going to find his first pick of the round, takes out the Thatcher, who they did opt for, just switching which operator or which player took the operator. So that's a huge start for the defense. Bathrobe looking to gauge these early fights, already taken a huge deficit on his HP. That's going to hurt and actually makes that he can't do much to play here. He managed to get out down the stairs, and his teammate is also pushed off, so Gohan now is right around the corner. Not going to be able to beat Servin, though.
Irvin does not waste any time, immediately walks down those blue stairs. There's a lot of information that OSU can use. They still have that Gemini clone, and they have 3 drones. I kind of got to eat my words there. I expected them to have a lot more in the current time, and that might kill them. Treasure, this little drones, now they have 2 drones. With a minute 20 left in the round, Fisher can absolutely exploit them.
This is amazing from Fisher, doing a great job on the reconnaissance game. It's not usually something you can do so actively, but every time that they've seen a drone go by, they have taken that opportunity. Finally, lobby is taken by the attack, but it's not that sound. There's still defenders over here. We look at Maple, who's looking for an opportunity to push on in. He's got the flank already set up, and there's no accessibility to the bottom basement floor yet for the attack. Oh, the missed shots are going to be huge, but he gets the down. Servin continuing on.
And Servin with 2 in this round, and the longer that this round does tick down, at a time where it just continues to bleed time, Fisher will gain that knowledge. Not a lot of info on that attacking side, but even more info will be denied. Not so yet by the attackers, as that frag might take out the bulletproof, but it's just more time. Time is the play here, Treasure. 2, 3 Goyo canisters popped, but it might not be enough to save Fisher. Bathrobe and Cappy are 2 locked inside of Wine. The Jackal takes some damage, but it's barely enough to even leave a scratch on his body. And now with coverage, Arno can go down, put the plant, and with Bathrobe on such little HP, there is not much hope that they can get this done. Can't even get a single kill. And Fisher, they end round 1 on a loss. And OSU, they just come back from that lack of information.
Yeah, really nice to see. Somehow, without having any drones to their name, basically, they did a good job of locking down the positions of the players that they knew. They played to lock off any rotations. So despite not knowing where players were for sure on cameras, they had the ability, they had cleared top floor for the most part, and with that kill on Maple, that was the most impactful part because that meant that they could start moving downstairs and locking off entire hallways. It just takes like one dry peek, and then you know that there's only like 3 places the defenders could. And it's behind the wall by the bulletproof where we saw, shoot, I didn't catch which player, but they're forced off of that angle, and then blue, which Ohio State wasn't even bothered by that one. You can have blue all you want. We want the objective itself.
I wonder how these rounds are going to go, because that first one, Ohio State, they played like a unit. They moved together, they droned together, they killed together. Like, you could not separate them from one another, and maybe Fisher can exploit that. Maybe it's just something that it's just the mob is too powerful. But as we go on, the second floor still has to be held. No Warden this time. Instead, we do see the Doc, so able to heal himself right back up. Gohan will be able to, along with the assistance of the Frost. So clearly the intention is just hold in this corner, have Magnets, ADSs, and try to last as long as you can.
Yeah, this is a good investment to make after seeing how Ohio State's last round on attack went. If they're going to be going for this same library side push again, it's good to have a lot of investment in someone who can just hold that ground for quite a while. That way you're still pushing Ohio State to that point where they have 30 seconds to make everything happen. Ohio State did succeed that first time, but that's exactly what you want to do to set up your defense on any given round. Thatcher and some friendly fire on frag grenades clears out any electronics that would be there, but I think it's just Frostmat staring down this window.
The goal was to, you disable the ADSs, you throw the frag in, and the Doc can't do anything about it. But Gohan, honestly, before the first EMP was even thrown, Gohan just evacuated all the way back to the first floor. Another frag is thrown. It does go wide, and even Gohan, who did retreat back to the site, goes down, and a shot from Servin just domes Maple Story. And now the Wamai on the library stairs is going to have to hold this, but cannot. And Ohio State just continues to truck forward. And right now, there really isn't anything Fisher can do. There's been 1 kill from them this entire first 2 rounds. And Cappy has to get the 1v5. And right now, they get 1 shot at it, but don't even get a single bullet away. Ohio State just continue to look strong in that second round.
Yeah, we are really starting to see right now what Ohio State University is all about, how they've ended up here. You don't need to be underestimating them by that little logo that they currently are wielding for us. They are absolutely coming out guns blazing. Flawless round, and I think that showed us what they'd be able to do last round if they hadn't taken those early losses. The real ones are 2nd and 3rd picks there from Reddick and RNO. Coming up on balcony and pinching in on the player that was meant to stop the attack on the second floor by library. Right now it's looking like Fisher isn't quick enough to catch these new entry points, and Ohio State is taking a multifaceted attacking approach. There's always one player on a pretty far off angle who's not just alone, but they're specifically to drone for themselves and find an off angle. That time it was RNO, and on the previous round it was it was Servin coming in on opposite side angle using their drones on kits in order to just clear a large amount of area and then pinch back into the teammates. Really showing a lot of synthesis between teammates.
Now, right now, Fisher just kind of playing the rotate game and rotating operators. Had a lot changes to Maple Story on their 3rd operator. Gohan on their 3rd operator. Happy now. Continuing just to change everything. Maybe it's just the type of strategy for these rounds. Maybe it's Fisher trying to go for an early round change. If you are going to make changes within your lineup with everything, you might as well do it early. Let it set in, try to catch Ohio State off surprise, and then work from there. But still, no time wasted by this Ohio State team. Reddick is almost by library hallway, and Servin is looking inside that bathroom window, not even a minute gone.
OSU is just playing with a lot of confidence their gunplay as well right now. They're peeking some typically it's dangerous angles to be doing, like this one that we were just watching, that little peak gunfight, and it's just consistently going right for them. Beezer is just shut down by Servant. That wasn't even the first player that he was fighting with earlier, and Disan is going to peek a beeper, but it doesn't really matter. That early knowledge for his opponent wasn't enough. Finally, that clapback. Maple finds one, but Reddick is really quick with the shutdown. These Echo drones are risky to be on at this point with attackers in objective. Only 2 players left for the defense, and one of them's downstairs. Both of them downstairs?
Boy, yeah. And second floor hold, crumbling before eyes. Pressure. One more kill has been added to the docket of Fisher, but it is still just Ohio State every single day of the week. Bathroom does rotate over towards those trophy stairs, but can't catch Servant off guard. And just quick like that, Servant doesn't even blink. I do not know if Servant was expecting that, and if he was not, that feels like inhuman reaction.
Yeah, I think must have heard that. I think that was a full speed walk, and he'd been watching that angle for a little bit. Really nice stuff from the attack once again, just moving step by step, crushing into sight. And they are taking some cheeky angles, some high rolling peaks, but it's working out so consistently, especially from the entry fraggers. And that's what you need from entry fraggers, that overwhelming confidence to just make it happen.
I think one of the things about Fisher right now is they are allowing OSU to gain a lot of space. OSU is gaining that space, realizing just how much Fisher is honestly giving them, and just saying, you know what? Let's just try it. Rush forward. They've been able to get a ton of kills so far. Right now, up 3. Going back to this kitchen site, there's going to have to be a very different upstairs hold. The same type of operators, but it's going to have to be a radically different round. Otherwise, Fisher, is there a way for them to get out of this hole if they go down 4 rounds in a row?
Pretty daunting start to the match. Right now, they are seemingly mixing it up. If these players stay back upstairs, they've got a lot of investment. On the top floor, I think we only had 2 players use it in the last round, and that might have been part of the undoing. There wasn't anyone to cover angles on those entry frags. All 4 players once again coming from the library, but Fisher isn't acting like they have seen this every single round. This is okay. Now better positions, kind of choking in on the angle, and Gohan is the first one picking up a kill. Also watching that window that's already been slammed out, presumably by Reddick before coming in.
One good thing about that is Gohan taking those early angles, not peeking stupid angles like that bathroom window that really doesn't serve you anything. You're peeking down the library, which is a pivotal part of the map. And now with Visa rotating all the way over to Solarium Stairs, it is still pretty speedy. It's not round 3 speedy for Ohio State, but they've already got that wall open. They still have a set of frag grenades. And if they can find one entry, perhaps that's what they need to really push forward. Disan, I've been impressed by this OSU roster so far, but if Disan was able to hit that, I mean, that level of respect would go even higher.
You can see once again he's taking some risks right there. He'd already seen a bullet come by from Maple, and he was willing to jiggle peek it. Ended up taking a couple ticks. Maple stays up above, but this is 2 walls now. Breach thermite charges making their absolute value. And Bathroom's taking a bit of a risky swing here around there, but RNO isn't peeking until now. They might be seeing a death there. Maple finally shut down Vitasani. He's found his way all the way around, but Beezer has been preparing for this. The 2 have been playing a tandem upstairs, and finally that pays off. The attackers are now down in numbers, but Servant has yet to be shut down all map.
Right now, the upstairs play for Fisher doing a lot better. Been able to get refrags. They've been able to hold their ground, and Beezer still holds his ground up on the 2nd floor and can provide a pivotal position if Ohio State does try to go for the 30 seconds left. Still a lot of time to get information, to maybe use some secondary utility. As the Echo drone, it is underneath that hatch. Beautiful placement of the Yokai drone. It can hop up, send a little stun over to that diffusing, and it seems that might be what happens Arno goes in, but there's even no need for utility treasure. It's guns that do the work in the end. A much different round from Fisher, and it's a breath of fresh air at this point.
Ooh, a Mossberg around a tight corner is my favorite kind of utility. That's the right way to be playing support. Yeah, that's great. Gohan absolutely building this one up and shutting down for the team. That's 3 kills by the end, but the rest of Fisher was also positioned really well. The Echo was finally actually in a position to give a lot of value to the team. We didn't get the opportunity to quite see Cappy firing that thing off and knocking a plant away, but that opportunity was still available, and she had support from her mute teammate right above the half wall, covered by 2 Jaeger ADSs, I think with the C4 still in pocket. So we had 2 ironclad forms of plant protection, and Gohan, of course, watching from upstairs because Fisher was finally able to win the second floor game that round.
I think that's been the story of every treasure bar. Second floor crumble. Basement. Second floor crumble. This is such a power position, this library area. It's telling the story for the entire map. It seems that that's not stopping anytime soon, with Fisher still holding up here with the frost mats, with the mangas. There are 4 people up here. I want to remind you, the site is in the basement, 2 levels below them. And we are still setting up for that top floor hold.
Yeah, it is just so pivotal. Yeah, to be making sure that the top floor isn't available on this objective. Highway especially, is really, really strong position for the defense, so the attackers are just obligated to clear it out. Right now, defenders are playing a little bit more aggressive. Gohan, our hero of the last round, playing all the way up in library where the attackers just keep coming in from Servin. This all-out fragger finally killed last round is downed outside. Someone's going to have to go save him. I don't know if the defenders know that they've got this boon, but it is a big one. That's a lot of time wasted. 45 seconds, and 3 players over here haven't even gotten to the windows on library, their favorite place to enter the map.
Gohan with the pixeliest of pixel angle.
Uh-oh.
There, takes out a drone, doesn't budge from that position. Just feet of steel, but does activate that Surya gate. It is going to get detonated, but Gohan does not move. They do not drop the hatch, and they will pay for it. Don't waste too much time, as there's still 2 minutes. But back on Mez is Cappy Bar, holding with that shield, holding with that reinforced angle. That is not a player, that is a Gemini. Now Cappy has a decision to make, to hold on or to wait, but Servant is inside the site. Nobody's there to help defend Bathrobe, and now, do you hit the panic button, Fisher? What do you do at this point? Capybara goes back to that first floor, tries to defend the bar, as it's a 2 versus 4, but Servant inside of stock is a killer. As Arno puts that diffuser down, and just the plays from Ohio State, the individual decisions right now are making the difference in some of these rounds. Beezer hops behind the fridge, but is no match for that Ash with the G36C, and what seemed like a good round at first, Treasure slowly, meticulously changes its head.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see that down 30 seconds fully, or 45 seconds, pretty much fully, to the defense, and they didn't even know it. I think the real problem, though, and I hate to point fingers, but Bees are staying up in that nook in library for so long. It can be doable in a lot of situations. If you're like, clearly he was up there playing to die, trying to waste as much time as possible. He was prioritizing reactivating Surya gates. That's good stuff, and like clearly signs of someone who knows what they're doing and setting up a position that's actually a really good way to waste a lot of time, especially with the way Ohio State has been prioritizing library over everything else. But Thatcher is not banned right now, and he just says no to that strategy. And that was the cost that he ended up paying, because he was reliant on Surya gates to be able to stay up. So as soon as the Thatcher gate goes out, that's a free frag grenade, because the offense knows just where you are, and you cannot run away from that fragmentation.
OSU are using Thatcher very well. Usually he's like, oh, you use him to get open a reinforced wall. But no, they're using him to shut down that library hold, which has been a problem for some teams when they can't just root out the player in the corner. It's as simple as that for Ohio State. They just throw an EMP, throw a nade, and bam, library is clear for the taking. Some changes from Fisher. They still keep that going that they like on basement side. That did help time. Gohan gets caught out on the rotate, and the speed of which Ohio State, it just means that you cannot waste time setting up, or else that happens.
Yep, that is the 3-speed difference. Dasan has actually been really using that asset on Ash really well. Servant last round as well, using it to come in through the main stairs while there's a lot of fighting happening peripherally and just shut down the anchors before they even realized that the fight was coming to them. So now the offense once again on a nice offensive lead, 1 player down. But Gohan does have those explosives placed already. Maple rooted out there, barely avoiding the soft walls that are getting pre-fired, but now he's going to have to pull off quite a bit, especially the way that the main hall is being attacked.
Anybody know that Capybara is still inside of Piano? Focus from Ohio State is more on this kitchen side, trying to root out Maple, who does get droned down. Okay? Decisions for Fisher as Reddit goes down from where Beezer with the C4 makes the decision, at least for now, and now Maple finds another one, can't get the hip fire onto the line. It's a 3v3, and Fisher desperately needs this round treasure, but more bodies are falling on the floor left, right, and center. There is nobody inside of the site. Ohio State can just enter, and Capybara really can't do anything about it, as she's the lonesome self inside of this map. The bulletproof camera will certify that there are 2 players inside of the site, but Cappy goes for the 1 player. Makes it a 1v2 as Arno sticks that diffuser. If Cappy can take down Servant, refocus on that diffuser, but no. The time has closed, and now she is truly in a 1v2. Can she get the shot onto Servant? The fire is going to take a massive chunk of health, but Arno with the rotate, 5-1, a killer attacking half for OSU on their own map there.
Yeah, looking amazing. There's some offensive plays there from Fisher College while they were clearly down on the defense that just dug them into a deeper hole, losing the 3rd and 4th deaths on the team, leaving Cappy all alone. She was on such a good flank, and if just anyone had been alive for her to come back to, I think that would have been a pretty easy 2 kills. But instead of having to play from so far behind, a valiant effort there in the end. But now it's Fisher's turn to attack. This map is not bad for attackers, so this might be just an attacker side of map. We'll have to see, but OSU just looking so good right now.
Yeah, their attack kind of did the talking for them. Not a very trash-talky team in-game, more a trash-talky team when they're playing the game, by how they play, as their defense continues to set up on that 2nd floor. And I'm not really expecting Fisher to play in a similar vein as Ohio with their style of attack. It's not a rush heavy. It is just very fast. They do not waste time. And a lot of that is just because the defense isn't setting up these very rigid borders that the attack has to fight to gain control of.
Yeah, and now that they're on defense, they're actually looking to mirror quite a bit of the intention that we're seeing from Fisher College. A lot of these same very strong operators focused on dealing with the throwables that they know Fisher's going to be bringing. And there are a lot of them, especially looking at Capitao and Nomad. It's really going to be beneficial for RNO to a problem.
In the corner. Magnets are going to get so much. There's a lot of throwables, flashbangs, frag grenades, all the like. And now Ito can honestly stim it. Why not? Got another one? Stim it. Yes!
Oh, he's
yeah, hit another one! Yes! The Doc buff! No damage done!
Oh my god. What is this? Apex Legends? Holy. And more throwables coming in. Fisher has lost so many resources to try and get this Doc, and he's not even the only one in here. Frag Grenade finally makes it through, but he gets through still with just shy of 100 health left, and Reddick is there to hold the angle beside him. Now Fisher needs to get in this room. It gives him direct access to above the objective into bar. And after putting all those resources into this room, they cannot leave empty-handed.
I'm so blown away that that is the amount of damage that Ketsu got away with. After all that, all the fire, barely under 100 HP. It is still Fisher who draw first blood. They take down Arno, and now Library is free for the taking. No Frost Mats will claim any victims today. Now that Bulletproof will go down as well, so not too much time, honestly, for Fisher to really gain control of Library. They have a minute 15 left. They just have to shift their focus to that first floor bomb site. Maybe use that sledge of Bathrobe with the frag grenades that they have. Now, this round's still very much in their hand.
Look where Cappy is, right outside of the window into a bomb site. This means that Fisher's currently playing towards one endgame possibility. They're not going to have much flexibility in the endgame, but this means that they're able to get droning from Capybara all throughout the round, which means that they get more intel than you would with a comparable push. Right now, the defenders have pulled back, but they're all playing in really tight positions, basically playing to die if their position does get overrun. We look at Hassan being that next line defense just right below Gohan.
Drone's just going to certify that, yes, Reddick is inside of that stock site, but Desan cannot be so easily rooted from the mudroom. Takes a little bit of HP, but still alive. Can get some help from his teammates, but it is a 3v3. And look at the work that Bulletproof is doing. Beezer gets the bearing 9 and a 1v1 to keep Ohio State from going on map point. Servant reloads knowing that the time is on his side. Capybara has to push it and can't win against that close range SMG. And despite that round being a game of inches, it's Ohio State that come out on top.
That is just such a back and forth round. Beezer, I think, really made the right move pushing up. He was flirting with it after his teammate died. Sees like clearly there's a live line of fire. I can push up and get the player that's in the mudroom, but it's going to be really risky with all the cross angles that you fall into. So he just said, you know what, it's just got to be all gas right now because this is the one moment of weakness we have in the defense. So he goes for it, gets 2, finishes a 3rd, and I think the follow-through kind of fell through with not getting pinned down during that time. So right now, Fisher, I think on the attack there, simultaneous execution isn't quite what we were seeing from Ohio State University, and that is what's putting them in this really lethal position right now, already on match point, only having won a single round.
I want to reiterate, this is Ohio State's map pick, so it makes sense that they are very strong, but a 7-1 victory, it can still be pretty telling depending on if it is, even if it is not your map pick. No matter what, a 7-1 loss is going to be pretty devastating. I would expect Fisher that even though this could be the last round, if it is the last round, I would expect them to not go quietly into that night. That maybe they put up a fight, map 2, readjust everything. Yali is a good coach. You could talk to them. You will talk to them between the maps. Maybe light that fire in them and get something changed between this first and second map.
Right off the bat, Reddick looking for some run-out opportunities to start this thing. Yeah, no one's bothering with electrifying walls right now. We're just going to let that one go. It's just a check for the Thatcher, which is the obligated bring to the table on this map with these bands. Fisher looking for opportunities, looking for where they want to go in for these second pushes. They've got the wall open. That's just an obligation. I think that's a flame from Goyo. Yeah, having popped that. So that's a nice buy of resources for Fisher College, but they're going to find that first pick pretty soon here now that we're nearing a minute off.
I like looking at the differences between the two. Oh, a great shot from Gohan, and discussing whether or not they just take the site, push on forward. That would be a mistake because we're looking through the eyes of D-San, who has perfect 20/20 vision on that breach. And, well, now so does Ketsu. Looking through that connector, looking through the little rotate that is made in between sides. So even though Servant is gone, the clear top fragger for Ohio State, there will have to be some more kills, and that will come in the hands of Arno, as Fisher has pushed onto the site. Maple Story gets another kill, and a huge change of pace for Fisher, but maybe it could be all for nothing. Desan drops, finds one, cannot get the second, and it's all in the hands of Reddick. The 1v3 right now does miss the headshot onto that Osa, and now has cemented the fact that he cannot walk down the stairs. The fuser goes down, Gohan gets revived, and things have really changed for the worse here. Treasure and Osa can look down blue with a perfect, clear shield. what do you do, buddy? Reddick, there's really no opportunities for you to do anything. Drop the hatch, maybe get a kill with the SMG-12, a 1v4, you're up by 5, who knows at this point.
Yeah, it's just what you got to do at this point. Yeah, Fisher College not going softly into the good night with a really brutal attacking round right there, wasting no time opening up the garage, wasting no more time after that to open up the wall into wine room, and then they play both these angles, send someone down main stairs as well to just dominate blue, or actually the player going down blue. I don't even know if we sent someone down main stairs there, but it made a really compelling wine room hold. Even with Deson dropping down from behind and getting 2 kills. Like, that's what makes it really rock solid, is that even Deson's masterful flank was not enough to stop it.
If Deson gets the kill onto the Thatcher, though, while still in wine, that's a 2v2. Because you have that ace down, and there's no way that you're going to be able to revive him with Deson in wine. So good plays, good mechanical skill by Fisher in that engagement. As Ohio State, they go back down to the basement. Some changes ahead. No more Jaeger. Instead, Valkyrie, of which we've barely seen on this match, is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, you can really stick some black eye cameras in some unconventional positions. It's some really valuable information.
Yeah, I see this maybe being something even used in sight, so that way they can keep an eye on this, especially with a wide roam. That way they know what they're working with. If Fisher goes for something similar to last round, and they just really beeline it for sight, that will kind of allow for a better retake. They just didn't have resources for good retake apart from Deson and his SMG. So I think that's an interesting accommodation this round. We'll see how it works out for Kenzu.
I actually wanted to talk to about something last round before we saw Gohan get the opening kill. Was the difference between the actual attacks, because I do want to focus on it, because right now it is still happening. Is Ohio State, they start in library, the top floor. Fisher, they start on the first floor, garage, and Servant, being that first death, is the first killer in this round. Takes out the only set of frag grenades on Fisher, and Bathrobe maybe wishing they had a little bit of a better map. 1 in 8 is going to sting. Because right now, Fisher has to find a way to kind of fill that void at 4v5 that they've been suddenly left.
Oh, the defense now very aware that big garage is the source of their troubles this round. Ooh, Maple leaving the feed out a little too long, but not quite long enough to end up dead to RNL, who does go down to Gohan, picking up the angle and supporting his teammate. Yeah, defense very well aware of where this is coming from. They can do much but pop their Goyo barriers. Oh, Servant doesn't quite make that kill. That's going to be hurting him because Beezer is still up and dead.
Yeah, but the HP that you deal it's not lethal damage, but it's enough to really rock the push, rock the ego of Fisher right now, because Maple Story cannot take a single bullet, cannot take shrapnel from a C4, and Gohan just walks inside a wonderful kill onto Servant, pivots onto Reddit. He is him! Treasure. Deson goes to that fabled hatch, does get that kill onto the killer of Gohan, but Maple Story watches that hatch as Cappy is allowed to put the diffuser down. And what a change this would be if Gohan would single-handedly change the pace of this entire round, and potentially the pace of this entire map. Deson pivots, gets a great kill onto Cappy, and now has diffuser control, goes on it, and Maple has to second guess whether or not Deson is going to stick. Goes off of it, gets the kill onto Maple, and that's where the health kills you in the end, Treasure. And despite a great play from Gohan, Deson just has a wonderful play of himself. It's Ohio State. They win Chalet 7-2.
That is amazing. Yeah, really showing off just what they have. What I'm really confused on that last round, I don't know if you caught it, was where was Maple watching when Deson pushed in the door?
I think it was by Blue, by the door. It was watching the hatch, like definitely. Blue. Yeah.
That's so rough, because they had that shield set up, and if it had just been watched with Cappy dying off on that one, the work of Gohan just goes away so quickly. But Deson with the 3K, that last half was basically all played with huge plays off of hatch, and it makes sense that like Gohan might be able to pull off a really nice flick there if that's the attack that Fisher College is really looking for on that objective. We saw them do it all 3 rounds of their attack, so that's something that they're probably repping a lot, which is pretty interesting to see as far as that difference between how these two teams approach a map. Like you said earlier, this one was Ohio State University's map, and going to Oregon, it might be a change of pace, but we'll have to see after a little bit.
All right, we're back after that quick break, heading into map 2, Oregon, between Fisher and Ohio State Esports, who just came swinging right out the gate, got a 7-2 victory on Chalet, their own map pick, and it's Fisher who are looking to bounce back on their own Oregon treasure.
Absolutely. So far, Fisher has only lost to Akron University. Ohio State is really poised to hit him with that second loss right now, especially with how amazing they looked, especially on that attacking half. We were just talking about that during our break because it was really a marvel to see. This time they're going to be going over to Oregon. I believe they should be starting on the defense, so we'll wait a little bit longer before seeing the Ohio State University attack again and get a little bit more of Fisher College on their attack because we only got to see 3 rounds of it.
Yeah, I would like to see Fisher actually have a cohesive attack that isn't really spurred on by Gohan. Because honestly, if we are being honest with each other, Treasure, most of their attacking rounds that they had was Gohan going crazy on the sticks, getting a couple kills, changing the course of the round. And I know that Fisher are better. They can put together a round that is won by strategy, by not just by mechanical skill. And we'll have to see if that is true on Oregon. They do start on that attack, and I think probably in a trade for the same attacker band, maybe the same defensive bands, but I think Mira should probably go down on this defensive.
That would make a lot of sense at this point. Fisher really needs to play towards your textbook picks and pushes. They're having a hard time against Ohio State University, really making some all-out attacks work, apart from a couple fraggers, having some really nice times coming around corners. And maybe they could leverage that a little bit more than I'm anticipating and use that. But we have seen some drops once they do open up an opportunity to get in, get diffuse off. But both teams having a really good focus on defuse going down. I think in the basement that Mira is going to do a lot to shut that down.
Yeah, Azami and Mira will both have pretty big impacts, but Mira is a little bit more powerful, especially on that basement side. It just makes it an impenetrable fortress. So Azami gets played. Will we see her as much as we potentially could have seen her on Chalet? I doubt it. She's not as strong with the geometry that Oregon has. But Ohio State, they go to the kids' dorms area first. And with Fisher, we're getting a lot of, I think, more fragging operators. You got Gohan on a sledge with the nades. And really, the hard for both of those walls, the setup and the strategy is very clear on the attack. And, I mean, Ohio State, they don't even have any wall denial. So clearly the wall isn't where they want to focus their attack or their defense around.
At the top level right now, there isn't a lot you can do to keep a wall up, especially if there are any bans on wall denial operators. So this actually makes a little bit more sense than it might feel like it does. Either way, the team's going to be bringing that Maverick. They're going to be bringing Thatcher, or if not Thatcher, some EMP grenades. So Ohio State's just not seeing it as worthwhile because they're only taking maybe like up to 5 seconds away from Fisher College because they just respect that Fisher's going to be able to open those up pretty quickly. And they're even doing something a little bit more exciting with that. They have some flexibility now with what they do on the walls. If we look at Games Room wall, we saw that they left a rotate hole in there, and that's really uncommon to see.
And it is going to allow some pretty schnasty peak angles to happen from potentially bunks, and some long angles can really be held, and that puts a lot less emphasis on the actual wall itself, which was a little bit of a tell from the actual operator lineup itself. D-Sun and Reddick are the two players that are on that first floor, and Maple just gets caught lacking. Reddick right in Z-Hall with Gohan falling as well, and if it was a bounce back round, a rebound round that Fisher wanted, isn't really going to be it.
This momentum's just going to keep going, it feels like. Bathroom does find that first pick, but immediately shut down by Ito Katsu, and the aggressive plays. Beezer is going to get shut down as he tries to find his way into Master, but Ito Katsu here once again ready for any push up through Attic. So Fisher College really early on finding the spots that they want to be pushing up in and just losing these peaks time after time after time. So that one falls away pretty quickly, just with some aggressive plays from Ohio State, especially emblematic of that open wall into Games Room.
I think that round will be a little bit of a cold shower for Fisher, saying that, hey, do you want to like kind of take a little bit of mental nap in the early part? You can't. OSU is literally going to be breathing down your neck the entire time. You always have to be aware, always have to drone, take every single ounce of map control that you can, and then maybe at the end of the round you might get something done. As Ohio State, one thing we talked about on their attack was just how quick they took map control, how fast they were with their attacks, and I think it's going to be a little bit of the same on defense. It's not the same style, because you can't really have the same style on defense, but it is very emblematic of a team that is just pushing the envelope on their opponent and making them work for every little bit the entire match.
It's fascinating to see right now. Ohio State once again is showing us a setup that's not really forcing that inch by inch pushing to be through a lot of utility. They've seen that Fisher College has a great time using their utility well, and so they say, okay, we're gonna open everything up. We're going to make ourselves as mobile as possible. And for every single angle, you've got to fight 2 defenders. Every single time you want to push up to the next room, there's going to be someone there waiting for you. Lots of barricades, not just castle barricades, but also standard barricaded doors. And those are going to give some pause to Fisher College right now. Johan not willing to open this one up until he has some further intel.
There are 3 roamers on the basement site. This is one site where you could have some success having nobody roam at all, and instead, no, 4! D-Sun is in meeting, and it still might be Ohio State who gain a victory at the end of this. It's just a feast for Ohio State right now, as right now Fisher, they just keep walking in the grinder. That is this defense. It's Cappy and Beezer, only Beezer, in the 1v5. It's very emblematic of the start of last map. Even though the sides are swapped, Beezer's just gonna chip a little bit away. It's just, even if you get the kill, it doesn't really mean anything.
This is a huge flex from Ohio State University right now, pulling out these strats that just totally change the face of the objective. Everything that you can think is normally pretty safe is a kill hole now. Everything that you would think is more dangerous, those main points that are usually your huge choke points for the round, don't really matter, and you're not even going to get to them with Ohio State finding a flawless round, their second one of the series, and this one coming out a lot earlier in the map.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
Hackers, vendors, it's really all the same to Ohio State at this rate. And right now, when I said this was emblematic of last map, this is literally how last map started. It was Ohio State won the first round with 4 players alive, won the second round with 5 players alive, and then won the third round with 4 players alive. So if we are continuing the pattern, Ohio State should win this run, but this is the best site for the attack. If a meeting, dining versus, dining meeting, we're always going to debate about that, but overall, those 2 sites still are the best for the attack. So this is the best chance that Fisher has at winning an attack round, winning it well, staying inside of this game, because seeing them defeated like this, I'd be a little salty, knowing that the skill that they have.
Yeah, well, at this point, I'm not even sure if this is going to be that much worse for Ohio State, the way that they've been playing. Once again, putting up a lot of these rotation holes in addition, and this is already a pretty open objective that really encourages teams to play upstairs, play multiple angles. And they have warded off this initial attack from Fisher College, but once again, it's almost like Ohio State is just in Fisher's head. The exact place that they want to start pushing, where we're seeing the droning initially and where the players have congregated, is covered in these peak angles. Walking right into Attic is pretty darn deadly. Yeah, there you go. Right what Dishon wanted, but ends up being a trade. Neither player quite ready for that fight somehow.
Is it an overall victory? No. You take out a player on OSU. It's not a gain, it's not a loss. You lose frag grenades, but you get you get the second kill of the map. At this point, you kind of got to take whatever you can treasure, wherever it may lie, even though it comes with a loss. It's something. So Ohio State are just lurking around the corner. Ito watching that door. You've got Arno with the supernova on the stairs. You have to use their drones, else they just continue to walk into the machine. That is Ohio State. It's another 4. It's the exact same thing. Treasure. 4-5-4.
Holy, that's really something to be seeing, but these feel just so much more dominant on 2 of these rounds. OSU hasn't even let Fisher into the building. And on round 2, it's not like getting to Zigzag Hallway is like that much of an achievement. You haven't even gotten to Freezer Stairs. So OSU has just fully shut out the opposition on 3 rounds, a full perfect rotation. They get to go back to second floor already, and they show no signs of stopping so far. I mean, we even saw a Supernova 3K, and there was a 4th one they went for that he was taken right out of his mouth by a teammate.
At this point, is there too many Ohio State players to drone out? I'm just wondering what is causing Ohio State to be this oppressive. Like, they're playing out of the ordinary, but at the same time, they're not being punished for it in the slightest. That would be my only fear. Would be there is not a lot of information that Fisher is using. I have to see if that holds over the next couple of rounds, but come on, Fisher. I know you got it in you.
All right, they're looking to fully counter what Ohio State's been doing. Both Jackal and Lion on this comp. Amaru there as well to make sure that Gohan can get somewhere relevant as fast as possible. But I think that's a peak from Serving. He's going to shut down Maple right off the bat. You lose a lot of the utility that your team had. I mean, your big utility things were Maple and Bathrobe on this round. Yeah, not even getting into Garage on their own. So I think we're seeing a little bit of lack of intel, especially hastily moving into the building. It did not look like Capybara knew that Desan was right there, but we will absolutely take that. Fisher needs this to get something going right now.
Yeah, like I said, you take any win that you can get at this point, and unfortunately Sledge, he is a 3-speed, he's a little thicker. He can't just fit through that little hole. Yeah, even Desan's calling the nice shot, and go on! I mean, Servin is just everywhere. You cannot predict where these Ohio State players are because they're just playing so weird. Servin peeks, takes out Capybara, even though he was just there killing Gohan. Doesn't find that kill onto Beezer, but at this point, Servin's job is done. He's found to done a lot of damage to Beezer. It's the same thing for Ohio State. They're up against this team looking to go up 4. Which, this was the point in Chalet where Fisher did get their first round. It's not going to be a mirror matchup. They won with 4 last time. Instead, it is going to have to be a grueling matchup that Beezer and Bathrobe are going to have to claw their way to victory.
Beezer did a nice job right there, uprooting the opponent that he knew was watching the angle he's trying to push up on. He's going to be spotted there, so that does mean the defense knows he's coming up into Trophy. There are still Goyo canisters in the way. So with 1 minute left, he's going to be hard-pressed to even get into the room. Kills notwithstanding, gunmen looking him down notwithstanding. So nade goes in. This one's going to get fully reset by Wamai. He doesn't choose to send another one down to Ito. Just like one pings him, sees this long angle down here as well. Looking for the last 2 to clean up anything that Dishonor wasn't able to get. But it's Reddick picking up that last kill on Beezer and shutting out that 4th round in a row on this map.
And now Ohio State, they get to go to basement, the site that was best for them, that they got the flawless round on. And, well, we're kind of getting to the point where it is going to be hard for Fisher to, A, come back, but B, that mental blockade that Ohio State has just kind of been beating them down with. Like, there's a difference between going down 0-4 and going down 0-4 with how Ohio State is playing. It is a very flashy, very in-your-face, very, honestly, I'm going to say very, like, haha, I'm better than you style of play.
It's just amazing to see them being able to do this, playing so aggressively on basement of Oregon. This is one of those things where Oregon is kind of touted as one of your most scrimped maps, one of the most comfortable ones of the reworked maps, one of the oldest. And to just take this map, which is usually played by the book, and just treat it like it's like favela or something is wild to see. They're totally changing up the playbook on this hold right off the bat, though. We can see a couple more reinforced hatches that were opened even last round. Still the castle barricades over by Bunker, but Fisher College hasn't shown us much interest in
And I think that is going to be emblematic of the operators that they have. Heavy Lion, there's no hard break. They are not built for Bunker. Potentially a laundry take, because with that freezer hatch potentially reinforced. Yeah, I think laundry is your only option, and a rush at this point. Yeah, with how things are. Ketsu just gets 3 from that first floor. Yeah, Beezer goes down.
Oh my god.
It was red.
Oh my god.
Book treasure.
out of the frying pan into the actual fires. RNO picks up 2 kills. Finally shut down by Cappy here, but she is all alone. She's got to try and get through all these barricades. Not quite picking up the kill on just on there, and Redick right behind and just stuck in the corner once again. Serving Ketso. It's a 1v2, somehow a lot closer than I think either of us would have anticipated.
Cappy gets the kill onto Servin. Hold your horses, everybody. Things have changed. Cappy can peek it, but no. Oh, it was so close. The 1v5 A's had a chance, but unfortunately, Ito had the health advantage, had the positioning advantage, and now Ohio State, even though that should have been their round from the beginning, with the frags that they were able to get, they scrape by on round 5, continue their undefeated streak, and now test their mettle again in Meeting Kitchen.
I think, well, I'm thinking back, I'm trying to remember how much resources, especially intel-wise, that Cappy had at that point, because she was pretty safe in that corner. I think throwing an E1D or even just a regular drone down to keep some extra intel up there. It's one of those things where adrenaline in those clutch or lose situations, like she needed the ace in order to get them out of the round because her team had just been stripped away from her. Needed that. I think that might have been the thing to push her up. Still had a big health deficit though, so nothing I'd expect of anyone, but would have been a beautiful little run if it had come back. So this is our final defending objective for this side. OSU showing us absolute dominance through all of these rounds, except I guess that one, but that's not exactly the showing Fisher College wants, to say we're in this one to win it.
And one reason that Fisher could be struggling as well is Gohan. Gohan is 1-5. When last map he was the leader. When it came to frags, when it came to entries, it was all Gohan. And now
to be fair, what are you gonna do to entry against this stuff? Like
No,
you're entirely reliant on your supports. Once again,
how
a lack
does it
of
keep
intel.
happening?
A lack of intel. Cappy goes down. No ace potential this round at all. And still a player out back there. That's going to be easy to shut down on Office. There's only one way out of there unless you're going to go outside. So Servant's going to be easy to track down, but I don't think anyone is doing that right now. Okay, drone going to confirm his location, but you already knew.
The player outside of small tower skims by, and Maple Story puts themselves on the board with a kill onto Arna as Beezer hops in. And now they got to be worried about a couple players right behind them. Redick in the shower hallway just drops that ace, drops that diffuser, and will defend against these Fisher attackers. It is a 2v3. If Maple Story can get the kill on the Jaeger, which they do, Fisher has some skin in the game. You should be able to grab that diffuser inside of shower, but Servin still here. Still inside of small tower is going to be a nightmare for Fisher if they want to attack this side, which if they choose not to, probably the right decision. It is going to help them, and Maple has a quad treasure. If somebody's not going to pick it up, like Gohan, might as well get an ace to keep a flawless run from happening, but it's still Servant. Does all the talking and Bathrobe. Finishes it off. It's not a flawless half, but so dangerously close to.
Absolutely, especially with it requiring 2 quad kills in back-to-back rounds from different players. Fisher's struggling to keep in it on their attacking sides. They'll have to, if they can make it through with a nearly flawless defense right now, they'll have to come back to attack, and that, I think, is when those overtime rounds are really going to look stressful. But at this point, I mean, we're nearly there once again. It's the same opening half count as last map, 5-1 in favor of Ohio State right now.
Attackers have to locate and defuse
No, Beezer, you gotta capitalize the T. The Ohio State. Wait, I want to look that. They said the land score. I want to look that up. See if that's kind of how it was.
See what exactly it was.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, basement as our first objective for the Fisher College defense. An admirable one. We started second floor for Ohio State, but it's not really going to change much in most matchups, so just kind of whatever we want with. Starting off with, what do we got?
Chalet and Oregon were played. Chalet was a
God.
7-0 for OSU. Oregon was a 7-5.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse.
So
All
this is literally round 2. Same setup, same maps, and it is just
actual
Ohio State smacking Fisher right now.
Fisher needs 4 more rounds here to keep up with that score, but they need so much more in order to get this to that map 3. I mean, round count differences, being up 1 round count even on your previous matchup isn't worth that much, especially if you're coming up against these rivals that have bested you before.
Well, Servin hasn't gotten an opening pick within the first 30 seconds, so I'd say you call that a success at this point. Servin has just been a nightmare, like a bloodthirsty demon at this point, and there's nothing Fisher can do. Bathrobe has totally been spotted by the drone that's just waiting outside of blue. But right now, Ohio State, they're being a little patient. This isn't like them. They're a little bit more quick than usual. But
What?
what? How did Maple die?
Bomb.
Oh, he came up the stairs to peek. He came to peek with his team, and somehow Servin's drone was that sitting there the whole time behind the sandbags? That's absolutely insane. Well, Servin not playing as aggressively as we had seen previously, but absolutely popping off with 2 huge grenade kills and still another nade in the pocket. He's going to be a menace as he comes down those laundry stairs, and now hard breaches going off as well, while Hassan just has his way with the big tower stair. Someone's got to stop him, but nope, it's not going to be anyone who's been flashed nearly this badly as Arno makes it right on into sight. Ito Ketso right behind, has the diffuser, and is probably going to start planting. Oh, no, as soon as he finishes up that kill, Gapi once again the only player left, and she just can't do it as Reddick rounds the corner.
Well, I think that's kind of what we were all expecting from the start. What Ohio State did is they just said, you know what? We've got everything we need. Let's just run inside the site. Take all the map control that we can get. It all starts with, honestly, a kind of an unlucky play. Like, if you get the kill as Warden in the right spot, maybe the round is salvaged, but then again, the frag grenade might have been thrown, and your fate might have been sealed once that drone's spotted. And I think right now, information is everything. Treasure. From our point of view, it seemed Fisher didn't really have information on the attack, and now Ohio State, on their attack, they're utilizing all the information that they can get, which is still putting them leagues above Fisher.
I think one of the craziest things is just the confidence in gunplay having such a gameplay consideration, because Ohio State, once they decide that they want to push an angle, someone's just going to do it. And whether or not there's someone watching it, they're so confident in their pixel peaks and their jiggle peaks that they're just rounding the corner, pulling up on it, going, I'm going to shoot some bullets down here, and if someone shoots back, that's fine. Even though, I mean, one bullet could just take it away. It just doesn't, because Fisher is over-respecting Ohio State, really, and even when they're holding an angle, they won't fire back. They don't want to take that risk of dying to Ohio State, because they've seen that overall, the gunplay does work out in Ohio State's favor. That's just the reality of it. You have to recognize it to some extent. But because of this, Ohio State is not contested on angles, especially on their attack. They're able to pull up, and they go, okay, well, I've got intel on this next room. Let's move on to the next one together. You solo peek once, and then the next room, as you get closer, the rooms are closer to each other, and therefore you can pull up with a teammate. And that's where they really get deadly, is that like second to third kill where they just start blazing through sight.
And doing exactly what you said. They cleared out that main entrance, they cleared out Armory and those stairs, and now they've cleared out the rooms that are right outside of the site. Trophy and Master Bedroom. Arno has those Candelas. You can probably throw them on in, but it's not Ohio State who draw first blood. It is instead Gohan. It's Fisher who gets some cling to life. And still Fisher who gets the man count advantage. Even though Arno does eventually claim Gohan's life, it's a 4v3. And if Maple's story can just be the silent killer, and potential, we could be in for a ride, the rest of Oregon, but Servin, you can never count on Servin, I guess. As long as Servin is still alive, Ohio State still has a hell of a chance.
Absolutely. That's what he's shown us every single round that has come down to the hair for him. He just makes these happen for the team. Some suppressing fire there from RNO. Ooh, and even better, a kill now. Beezer going entirely down. Maple made a huge play with that kill and holding up on a flank, but just cannot make it happen against Servant. Now, Cappy is all alone. Kieran Attic get opened up. She needs this kill right now in order to move up on the next one, but she's about to be flashed out of her mind and pulled up from behind on by Reddick. That closes this one out terrifyingly fast.
Yeah, Ohio State are menace.
Yeah.
They won the CR6 LAN, and they won it well, and we can kind of see why. With not a pitch-perfect result of when Fisher did play Ohio State. I hate to say it was worse. Fisher, like, you got less rounds than you did in that first matchup. And then I think there were like signs of life in a couple rounds, but just the power of Ohio State, the sheer strength, the sheer speed, the sheer skill, it's just too much to handle.
I guess it's just a little more fuel on the fire for this. Fisher College has something more to study in their pursuit of their white whale, Ohio State University. So that's going to bring Fisher to that 2-2 record so far for their season. They've got quite a few more going since they have a few reschedules coming up. Ohio State University, on their other hand, undefeated, 6-0. Pretty much every other team is arguing over who gets second seed going into playoffs. Maybe the playoff season is a little bit of a different story, but right now, Ohio State, you're probably just not going to best them for any of these teams coming up the next 2 weeks up against them. They can basically rest on their laurels with a guaranteed in for playoffs.
Yeah, will anybody take down the Kings that are Ohio State, the champions of collegiate seas? There's still some siege left. There's still some couple weeks, but that is not it for this night. We've still got some siege. It's coming up later, I believe. I want to make sure that we've still got that going on, but when we do, we're going to go to a quick break, and if that is still going on, we will see you a little bit later.